Okay guys, a little unique combo video that I have not done before. This is a Stryker 447 ready to go, tuned up, ready to go. This one is already sold. We'll have more of those available soon. This is an amp that I've never done a video on before. This is actually a 6-pill 454. So the 454 is the best way I can describe them as a medium drive transistor. Basically, if you have enough of them, they kind of start leaning towards a high drive, but this is a 6-pill. I've never done a video on the 6-pill before. I've done videos on the 8, 1x8, 4-pill, and 2-pill. So generally I recommend people in the 2 pills to do, 40 watts PEP, maybe 45. The 4 pills, generally 60 to 75 watts PEP. So the 6-pill, we're going to say anywhere between 85 and 100 watts PEP going into it. Now, towards the end of the video, I'll show you guys the exact output numbers that we're seeing with this Stryker going into it. Now, we are going to test at 15.1. As you guys know, I've already demonstrated with these MOSFET radios, particularly the Stryker, as you decrease the voltage, the output is going to decrease steeply. I've had a couple people buy some Strykers, and they're running them on 13.8 volt power supplies, and they wonder why they're only showing 60 to 70 watts, where here they show anywhere from 80 to 100. And that is because there is a huge difference in output on these radios when you start falling off in voltage. So I recommend a minimum of 14.5, maximum of around 15. Same thing goes with these 454 transistors. You can run these at 15 volts, 14.5, 15. They'll be fine. We're going to run them at 15 for the video. That being said, this radio should do around 80 to 100 watts PEP. And on the average side of it, generally around 20 watts or so average. The average power will increase on these as you turn the variable power up. The peak power remains the same. So we're going to start with a 1,000 watt slug. This amp is actually pending sold as well, possibly. So we'll get more of these in, depending on how you guys like how it does here. So we're going to start with a 1,000 watt slug, 15 volts. Let's just give it an audio and see what it draws. Hello. So under 50 amps there. Now keep in mind, if you drive this thing with a radio that does more average power, it's going to drive it harder and make it draw more amps. For an example, what I'm going to do, let's see, our talkback's a little too high. Let's just turn the talkback off. We don't need that. I'm going to roll the dead key up a little bit and show you guys as the average power increases on this Stryker. Hello. See, just that slight difference put it over 50 amps. But around 50 amps or so currently with the way we're driving it. Again, if you get a radio that does 35, 40 watts average and still does the same PEP, you can expect this amp to draw more power than that. But right now, with this combination, around 50 amps with the radio and the amp. So let's go over here to the watt meter. We're on average power first. Hello. Now we're running about a 200 watt dead key swinging 300 average. I'd probably turn it down a little bit lower than that. So what we're going to do for the sake of the video is we're going to roll it down to about 165, 175. That's more of a comfortable area. You can run less if you want to. Hello. And you see the average power comes down a little bit, swinging to about 280 or so average when we turn the power down. Now, of course, if we keep backing it down, you'll see that average power continue to fall. But that's what we'll use for our reference point for how we've got the dead key and everything set on the radio when we show that at the end of the video. Now I'm going to show PEP. And one thing I will tell you about these 447s, they seem to talk more PEP than they audio. Seems when you audio into them, they don't swing quite the PEP. The average they do, the PEP they don't. They talk better than they audio. So we'll just key up the microphone here and just talk into it. Audio, see it falls back a little bit when you audio into it. But as we're just talking into the mic normal right here, we're seeing around 800 watts or so PEP. Just a little bit less than 800. And that's about what you can expect out of one of these. The 4 pills generally do 450, 550, something like that. So we could probably drive this thing a little bit harder. I always tell people on the 8 pills not to drive them with more than 150 watts PEP, usually 120 to 150. And we'll see what this radio is actually doing with how we're driving it right now. We'll hook up the 100 watt slug after we get off the key here and run just the radio. But this amp should run ice cold right there. I mean, it is. I've got my hand on it here. The air, it's just ice cold. I mean, should not have any trouble running this amp like that. 800 watts PEP. Again, you've got it in a 4-pill 2879 cabinet, or 2879C cabinet, and right around 800 PEP and up to around 300 or so average. So what we're going to do, let's just pop out the 1000 watt slug and put in our 100. Turn it all the way to the right. And we'll just turn the amp off because it is ice cold. It's not like we got the amp hot and we're just turning it off. Amp is still ice cold. And we'll just come over here and talk on the Stryker and see what it does. PEP still on, so now we're looking at the bottom scale still. Audio check 1 2 3. 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 We're only hitting it with 60 watts because we've got the RF power down so low. Once you start turning it up, see, we can turn the RF power up. It does fall off at a certain point, but once we turn the RF power on up there, you know, getting up there closer to the 80 watts or so PEP. Now that is going through the amp, so it might show a little bit less. Even though our bypass tune shows a 1-0 on the Stryker, if you trust these SWR meters that are built into the Stryker, we're showing a 1-0 on the bypass. You still might lose a little bit going through the amp, but we had our RF power turned down to like right here. And again, once you get past a certain point on these Strykers, the PEP will fall off on them even after they've been modded. It'll come down some. And then you get up here and it basically stays the same. Just put it up here to 12 o'clock just to see how it does here. Check, check, 1 2 3, audio check, 1 2 3, audio check, 1 2 3. So there's that 80 plus watts. But that's not what we were putting in the amp. We're actually putting about 60 or so into it. The dead key that we're running into it, just a ballpark guess, right around 4 watts. So probably anywhere between 3 and 5 watts dead key going into this amp. And again, it'll perform different with different radios. Some of the radios that do more average power, they're going to push it a little bit harder. It's going to draw more current. Sitting with 60 watts PEP and seeing 800 out of it, I feel like that's pretty dang good. I feel like you could hit it with the full 80 or so and probably see about 1,000 watts PEP out of this guy. Just another option for people out there. The 454s, they don't take as much to cool them, to keep them cool. So having them in this large 4-pill case with a fan on it, I just see that being a very, very tough amp for somebody. And again, it's kind of a medium drive transistor. You don't have to drive it as hard to get the power out of it. So it's not like a 2879 where you got to put a considerable amount of power into it to get it to start showing some good numbers. These 454s are they're a tough medium drive alternative to the 2879. And for people that just want to have something a little bit different. Not everybody wants a 4-pill 2879 or a, you know, 1 driving 4 or whatever. 6-pill 454. Got somebody interested in this one, may or may not be sold. Just figured I'd do this demo and let you guys check it out. Pretty nice little combo in my opinion. Stryker 447, 6-pill 454 Fatboy, Rooster in Tennessee. Questions, comments, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535. Catch you guys out there. See you, bye.